2, 1. Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. My name is Jared Budlong. I am running as an independent candidate for governor here in Alabama, and today is Tuesday, which means it's a policy meeting. This one, we are going to slightly deviate from our normal 3 policies we normally discuss, which is education, prison reform, and healthcare. This one, it falls under healthcare for us. Most people don't think about it. We're going to talk about marijuana, and we're going to talk about the impending licensing changes, or the ability to get licensed for medical marijuana. If you have anything you want to talk about regarding the licensing, please put it in the comments. We'd be happy to interact and chat with you about those. But we're going to go over the impending change, and that starts on September 1st. So looking at National Law Review is where we're going to pull some of this initial data from, and I'm going to share our screen for everybody who's watching not on TikTok. Sorry, guys. We're going to share an entire window, it looks like. That'll be our easiest way. Perfect. And I'm actually going to unpin that so we can see this nice and big. Perfect. Okay. So that should be big enough for everybody to see. Sorry about the ads. Welcome to the internet. So Alabama is now announcing, the Cannabis Commission has announced that they're allowing applications for licenses for medical marijuana. Those you can request them. Oh man, you can request them on September 1st, and I'm trying to find the other dates because I just scrolled past them on accident. Where are they? We were just looking at it a second ago. Here we go. All right, it's right below the big start button. Thank you, ads. So you can request your license application form from September 1st to October 17th. Right, and then the deadline to submit it is December 30th, and they should be making final decisions on issuing licenses by July 10th of 2023. So we're still a little less than 12 months away from people getting their licenses if they qualify and or can pay the fee to qualify, which, according to a conversation we were having earlier pre-meeting, looks like it's a $2,500 fee. I don't see that listed here. That is probably on the actual proposed laws, which is on the Medical Cannabis Commission website. We're going to read through some of this, so you're going to have to bear with us. This is a policy meeting, everybody. So we are going to dive deep into some of this as we go through. I don't think we're going to cover the bill specifically today because we're talking about those. Talking about the actual licenses and people applying for those licenses, because it ties into my concerns, which all of our volunteers were having a discussion earlier. I was in a different meeting and I wasn't able to engage in the conversation, but there was a conversation regarding what to do with marijuana, and it's for me it's more complicated. If we were saying in an ideal world, what would I do? The answer is it would be legalized and decriminalized, and we would just roll with it. Like that's what should be happening in an ideal world. My concern, and if the licensing fee is accurate, it ties into my concerns. So let's roll with that for a little bit. I want to see if we have licensing requirements generally. Requirements. Oh, that opened up 2 different ones, didn't it? All right, so I'm going to search for fee real quick and just see what shows up. We're going to see if it actually gives us our fee amount, because I am pretty sure you all don't want me to sit here and read through this entire sheet. Anna, do you remember, can you put it in the comments on what the fee was and where you found it? Because it's not.
Yeah, I just dropped you a link on the Facebook comments.
Oh,
if you
cool.
maybe want to check that one out.
Yeah, and I think, ironically, I can't click that from here. So that's humorous. So AMCC Alabama Gov Cannabis Business Applicants. All right, so let's see if that is anywhere in here. There's a resources. That's at least the same website. So let's go there, and I'm going to adjust that. So cannabis business applicants. All right, instead of about and resources. Cannabis business and resources. Nope. What did I misspell? Oh, business applicants. We were already looking at resources. Business applicants. There we go. License types. All right. Integrated facility. So no more than 5 licenses can be awarded for the entire state is what that, or is that per person? See, that doesn't, is that per business? This has to be per business, right? Yeah, so it's got to be each business. So they're limiting it to 5 licenses. No, that sounds like 5 total.
Yeah,
That
5 total for the
that's
state,
that's
and
5
then those
total
5 can
licenses.
have 5 sites.
So across the entire state, we are limiting it to 25 dispensing sites.
Correct.
Gotcha. An integrated facility license authorizes all of the following: cultivation of cannabis, processing of cannabis into medical cannabis, including proper packaging, labeling of medical cannabis products, the dispensing and sale of medical cannabis only to a registered qualified patient or registered caregiver, the transport of cannabis or medical cannabis between its facilities, and the sale or transfer of medical cannabis to a dispensary. Okay, so that's the integrated facility. That's not the actual dispensary pieces. Cool. Okay. Annual license fee, $50,000. Read more about that. Go into the requirement PDF, and that's fine. So cultivator, no more than 12 licenses are going to be awarded. So there's no more than 12 cultivators, and a cultivator is someone who can participate in the following: cultivation of cannabis, the sale or transfer of cannabis to a processor. The cultivator contracts with a processor to process its cannabis into medical cannabis on the cultivator's behalf. The sale or transfer of medical cannabis to a dispensary. Annual license fee is $40,000. There's a way to read more on that. Processor, no more than 4 licenses will be awarded for the entire state. A processor license includes or authorizes all of the following: purchase or transfer of cannabis from a cultivator, processing of cannabis into medical cannabis, which shall include proper packaging, labeling medical cannabis products in accordance to the law, the sale and transfer of medical cannabis to a dispensary. Again, annual license fee is $40,000. You can read more through the PDFs, and thankfully Anna put the link to this in the Facebook chat. So actually, you know what? I have it. So let's do this, because I can cross-post my comment in case anyone's watching anywhere else. So let's do that. And so dispensary is up next. No more than 4 dispensary licenses will be awarded. Each license may operate up to 3 dispensing sites. So basic math, we're doing 12 dispensary sites max. Hunter, quick answer, yes. Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook, and then TikTok, but nobody on TikTok can see the screen. So TikTok, sorry. You can listen. If you want to see what we're saying or reading, you can go to one of the other platforms. You should be fine. We're going to read through everything. It's all text at this point. There's nothing visual, really. All right. We went through the dispensary piece, right? No, we got to go through it. So dispensary license authorizes the following: the purchase or transfer of medical cannabis from a processor. Cultivation, if a cultivator contracted with its processor to process its cannabis into medical cannabis on the cultivator's behalf. The purchase or transfer of medical cannabis from the cultivator, if they have a contract together, got it. The purchase or transfer of medical cannabis from an integrated facility, the first option we saw earlier. And the dispensing and sale of medical cannabis only to a registered qualified patient or registered caregiver. Makes sense. Annual license, $40,000. Secure transporter, no license limits, so you can transport and carry it as long as you can afford the license. Transport license authorizes the licensee to store and transport cannabis and medical cannabis for a fee upon request of a licensee. A licensee does not authorize transport to a registered qualified patient or caregiver. So you're not going directly to someone who consumes the product. You're going to another licensee. In order to be a transporter, it's $30,000 annually. State testing laboratory, and no license limits, so we can have as many testing labs as we can have, as many as people can make. The state testing laboratory license authorizes the licensee to possess and test cannabis and medical cannabis products cultivated or processed at licensed facilities, $30,000. So those are all the licenses if you want to operate as a business regarding medical marijuana in Alabama starting in 2023 as a business. Then there are some fees that we want to get into. So applicants and licenses will be charged various fees, including the following: a non-refundable application fee when applying for a license fee when approved for a license, and an annual fee to renew your license. So we've gone over the annual license fee and renewal. I would assume those are the same. May not be a good idea, but we're going to keep reading. Locality resolutions and ordinances. So according to Code 20-2A-51, notwithstanding any other provision of this chapter to the contrary, the Commission shall not permit a dispensary to operate a dispensing site in any municipality or unincorporated area of a county unless the municipality or county has authorized the operation of dispensing sites within its boundaries as provided in Subdivision 2. Any county commission, by resolution, may authorize the operation of dispensing sites in the unincorporated areas of the county, and the governing body of any municipality by ordinance may authorize the operation of dispensing sites within the corporate limits of the municipality. The county commission or municipal governing body shall notify the commission not more than 7 calendar days after adopting a resolution or ordinance. This subsection does not prohibit a municipality from adopting zoning ordinances restricting the operation of dispensing sites within its corporate limits. Resolution ordinances received by the commission: Butler County, Coleman City, Glencoe City, and Montgomery City. Counties and municipalities may submit resolutions and ordinances here. This part, if I'm reading it correctly, it sounds like those are the only ones that have submitted anything to the commission regarding their resolutions and ordinances. Every other county and city has not said anything as of now. That's how I'm reading that. If I'm misreading that, and somebody thinks I'm misreading it, please mention it, because it looks like we're tracking along at least. Resolution or resources for applicants coming soon. There isn't one. Application and license FAQ. Does the Alabama Medical Cannabis Commission plan to publish the application form prior to October 24th? No. I'm confused why that says no, but the applications are going to be available on September 1st. If anybody understands how those dates don't match up outside of just a content issue, let me know, because that doesn't track with what we just read for me. Facebook user said, as a farmer, this was poorly planned. Why aren't we using the processes of previous successful states? We clearly don't know what we're doing, so why not use a blueprint? It's a really good question, one I don't have an answer to. You could write the Alabama Medical Cannabis Commission and see what they say. What is the timeline for applicants and licensing? We've covered that above, I believe. We're going to open another page just in case. We'll see what that says in Appendix A to Chapter 3 of the AMCC Administrative Rules and Regulations. What is the AMCC's intent to have annual license renewals? Or sorry, is it? The answer is yes. Title 20, Section 2A, 55A, 8 establishes annual license fees for each type of license, provided the fee shall not be less than $10,000 and no more than $50,000, depending on the category of license. So it'll never be less than 10 or more than 50 is what we're hearing. Willow, appreciate it. Thank you. And Jefferson County will be last minute as usual. Can I apply for more than one license? No. 538-X-3. .05-3 I states states that the applicant and its leadership have no economic interest in any other license or applicant for license under this act or chapter. See 20-2A-55E in the Code of Alabama as amended. Okay, so you can't hold more than one license, even if it's a separate business. Sounds like any one group of people cannot have multiple licenses. Is an applicant at the time of application required to propose specific property where each facility will be located for the applicant's proposed cannabis business? Yes. The AMCC rules require the applicant at the time of application to show proof of authorization for the applicant to occupy a property where the facility is proposed to be located. The rules also require additional information specific to each proposed facility, and then see some rules. Sure. So, I don't know how I feel. There's like, well, let's keep reading, and we'll hash through thoughts afterwards. Is an applicant at the time of application required to show that it has satisfied all requirements of the AMCC rules regarding its proposed operations, including facilities and equipment? That has to be a no. Sure. No, the AMCC rules require the applicant at the time of application to submit plans demonstrating that its operations will, prior to issuance of license, satisfy the requirements. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense, because you can't always have a facility unless you get your license. You don't want to put the money out. Okay, let me reread that sentence, because it made sense halfway through. No, the AMCC rules require an applicant at the time of applications to submit plans demonstrating that its operations will, prior to issuance of a license, satisfy the requirements established by the rules. The applicant at the time of application must provide an estimated construction completion date for each facility, if applicable, and the number of days, if awarded a license, within which the applicant reasonably projects it will commence operations as to each facility identified in the application. Anna brings up a very good question regarding one of the points earlier about having to have a specific property. So the question is, how can a business pick a specific site when counties and municipalities haven't decided that they'll allow these things yet? It's a really good question. Really good question, Anna. I don't know how you could. That sounds like as of right now, if this information is correct that we read earlier, there are only 2 counties and 3 cities that you could reasonably apply for a license in. That's how I'm reading that based on the information here. Now, Anna, what I haven't seen is our $2,500 cost earlier. Okay, here we go. There we go. It was right at the very top. Sorry, I skipped past it earlier. There is a non-refundable application fee for all license types of $2,500. So, assuming that you have the $10,000 to $50,000 for the license itself, just to apply, the non-refundable license is $2,500. And applications open in 2 days. So if you've got $2,500 laying around and the ability to have a facility to process, dispense, or grow, or do all of the above in Montgomery County, or was it Butler County? I don't want to go off memory. Yeah, Butler County, or Coleman City. Oh, sorry, Montgomery City, not county. It was Montgomery City, Coleman City, Glencoe City, Coleman County, and Butler County. So, if you have the resources, applications are open in 2 days. Sorry, applications to receive your application, and then you have to turn it in by December. So, Facebook user, let's see, who is this? Robin. Can't help but think they've already decided who's going to corner the market on this. A minimum of 10 grand for a license and 25 just for an application. That's correct. Yeah, minimum of 10 grand, which I don't believe any of them were that low. They were just stating in the law that it can't go that any lower. They are 30, 40, and 50,000 per license. Robin. So, yeah. So now that we've read through the the general idea for applications for business licenses. A lot of people didn't like my change of stance, I think is the best word, for legalizing marijuana as just a blanket statement. And honestly, it goes to this: like, what we're talking about is why. Under the current way things work, my concern is that there are people who are using the sale of marijuana currently to support their family, part of their community, however you want to phrase it, but there is a market, otherwise we wouldn't be talking about it. And currently that is an unknowable quantity. Like that is an unqualifiable amount of business that is currently happening now in assumedly smaller batches, larger numbers, but smaller groups of people and or groups selling marijuana currently illegally. And my concern is that in a state that doesn't have minimum wage and doesn't want to push for increasing people's ability to have a living wage, the people that rely on the illegal sale of marijuana currently, if we legalize it just without putting measures in place, this will happen for the entire market, and the people who rely on this to feed their kids, feed themselves, that will be my concern. And that's why I'm not saying we shouldn't. I'm saying we need to think really hard about how we implement it, so that we don't do something like this where it makes it impractical for anybody to apply for that license. So that's, I know, Alex, we were talking earlier and you were like, just like, what's the question? Legalize it. And it's like, maybe, but we can't just say legalize it. We have to say legalize it with these thoughts in mind. And that's where my head is at. I'm going to scroll back through TikTok real quick because I think comments have caught up on other social platforms, and I've seen some stuff go by, and we don't have Q&A on TikTok anymore, so I'm really sorry about that. I've noticed from a couple people that nobody has it. So I'm going to try and go through my comments real quick. Lindsay, it's so different. Yeah, the way we're doing it. Robin, I'm not in Wisconsin, otherwise I would. We would talk about, legalizing it in Wisconsin also. Willow, thanks for saying hey. Let's see. Somebody is in Irondale and saw a sign in Publix. That's awesome. Lee County resident. Sweet. What's going on? Robert. Nope. Taylor got it. We're good. Let's see. Peace, love, and hippie. What's going on? I'm trying to make sure we don't miss any questions. If you have them, put them up, because we're going to go into another potential concern that I have, because we're talking about medical cannabis. Let's see. Other Michelle, I feel that these fees are going to make product cost unreasonable. And then Peace Levin's hippie said, look at what Colorado has happened. They had to rewrite the laws because of surplus tax money. I see things having to come from the federal level. Yeah. So, yes. So to the other Michelle, that is my next point, which I have a tab pulled up, and it's related to insulin costs. So insulin prices have gone up higher than they should. Like, we haven't put in more research. I was trying to find the actual number before the meeting, and I couldn't find it, so we're gonna go a little bit. But we have a product called that's insulin, and we've had it for decades. And if I'm remembering correctly, the person who created or / discovered it essentially gave it away for $1 so that it could be as inexpensive as possible. If I'm remembering insulin correctly, I'm hoping it's not penicillin. It was one of the two. Pretty sure it's insulin. And we now have people in the U.S. at least paying exorbitant amounts for that life-saving drug. And I'm concerned that this will happen with anything else that we turned into a medical only situation. So I mean, we're already doing it, so don't get me wrong, but the comment from Michelle triggered that thought. I'd already started looking at those costs to bring that point up. Anna, you mentioned, I think the current restrictions on how medical can be produced and consumed, secondary market will still remain. I fear those people will still be persecuted for a legal product. Well, yeah, so it's only legal if produced and distributed in certain ways. And I believe, I don't know if it was the one we were looking at, the one that covers the allowed types of product, because that's a whole nother piece. Yeah, okay. So when will things be available? We're not sure. They said check back frequently for updates. They're not sure when we'll have product available, probably because nobody's making it yet. Right. When can I apply for a license? We already covered that. September 1st. What physicians are approved to issue it? Currently, no physicians are approved to certify patients. So we're just okay. That goes back to the property thing that Anna mentioned. Like, so you're only allowed to sell to certified patients, but we don't have any physicians who can create certified patients. But you have to go ahead and apply with a $50,000 for a $50,000 license with a $2,500 application fee, non-refundable, and have a property picked out and a plan in place so that you can meet all their requirements, all for a customer base that doesn't exist. It's an interesting approach. Not a huge fan so far. What types of medical cannabis products are approved for use in Alabama? Allowed products. We have tablets, capsules, tinctures, gels, oils, creams for topical use, suppositories, transdermal patches, nebulizers, liquids or oils for use in an inhaler. Products that are not allowed: raw plant material, products that can be smoked or vaped, and then food products such as cookies and candies. Does insurance cover the cost of medical cannabis? Health insurers are not required to cover the cost of medical cannabis. Ooh, is anybody taking notes in the team? If we're taking notes, somebody put research Medicaid covering medical cannabis. I'd be curious if that's it can't be a federal thing because it's not legal federally. We need to look to see if that's something we can influence through Medicaid in the state to approve that through Medicaid at least. All right, where are the dispensaries located? There are no dispensaries because you can only put them in 2 counties and 3 cities. What conditions qualify for medical treatment? Somebody asked this earlier, I believe. Will insurance cover it if somebody's been privileged enough to have the insurance? Not required. We answered that. Let me scroll back up. What disorders and stuff do you believe need to be covered under medical? I mean, so good Faye Fox, if you're talking about me personally, I don't think we should even have to require the medical license. Like, I don't, like, it should just be a plant that people can grow and use in an ideal world. Decriminalize, yes. Like, that's what we should be doing. So now, if we want to talk about what currently is, I can answer that because they actually, the commission gave us that. Currently, conditions that qualify for medical cannabis treatment include autism, cancer-related weight loss or chronic pain, Crohn's disease, depression, epilepsy, and conditions causing seizures, HIV, AIDS-related nausea or weight loss, panic disorders, Parkinson's, persistent nausea not related to pregnancy, PTSD, sickle cell, spasticity associated with diseases including ALS, multiple sclerosis, and spinal cord injuries, terminal illnesses, Tourette's, and chronic pain for which conventional therapies and opiates should not be used or are ineffective. That's an interesting, all right, that's, for me, that is an interesting caveat to give, knowing that there's an opioid epidemic, saying when traditional opiates shouldn't be used or are ineffective, not as an alternative. It's if they're not effective, or it's like, I mean, what qualifies as should not be used? Because they're literally just an addictive substance. So like, should never be used. Marijuana, right? Like that's a weird. I mean, whatever. We're all. That's why I'm running. The states does thing backwards. So like it shouldn't be surprising, but it's weird to just have stuff laid out in front of you when it doesn't make sense. Is it illegal to use or sell medical marijuana for the purposes other than what's allowed under the law? I mean, the answer would be yes. Is it illegal to do something that's against the law? Yes. Whatever. The actual answer, yes. It is illegal to distribute, possess, manufacture, or use medical cannabis or medical cannabis products that have been diverted from a registered qualified patient, a registered caregiver, or a licensed cultivator, processor, secure transporter, dispensary, or a state testing laboratory. So Hunter brings up a good point. When are opiates effective at managing pain anyway? I don't know about managing pain. I mean, they do temporarily. They can help mask pain. Like they use morphine for a reason. Like it does a thing. It's not. They're not good for long-term use. That should be very clear. But who says that we do things where things make sense, right? All right. Other Michelle, PTSD was on the list. Correct. Yeah. So PTSD is on there, as well as depression, epilepsy, and conditions causing seizures, and the chronic pain piece. If traditional therapies shouldn't or aren't effective, shouldn't be used or aren't effective. So let's see. Yeah, but no insurance. Well, insurance may not cover it, so it may not make a difference if your insurance doesn't cover it, or if you don't have insurance to cover it. Good Faye, I'm hoping somebody on the team wrote down what I asked earlier, or I remember to look it up later, to see if we can, because we're planning on expanding Medicaid. Like, this is a healthcare discussion. Let's just throw that out there because that's something we need to say more often. The plan is to expand Medicaid. We have not been able to find anything that says the governor can't just accept that additional funding from the federal government and implement an increase in funding for Medicaid. The caveat is what we're going to look into is whether or not we can allow medical marijuana as an approved and covered treatment for all of those ailments or conditions that are mentioned here in the law. So sounds like they're making it a second choice. Yeah, it's a backup choice, not even a second choice. It's like if you can't get this to work with something else that we already do, then I guess you can try the medical marijuana. So, all right. Let's see if there's any other. I think those are FAQs, so we're good there. Laws and rules, request for proposal, staff news, not worried about that. Business applications, patients and caregivers. What do we have here? There's our qualifying conditions. Okay, here's some other qualifications, not just the conditions that you have, but other qualifications. You have to be a resident of the state, 19 or older, to be a patient or caregiver. So if you have a minor who has a condition, if you are 19 or older and are a resident, you could qualify as a caregiver. Certified by a registered physician, which again, there are no registered physicians in our state who can qualify you, but here are the rules for the physicians that can't do it. You have to have a qualifying condition, covered it. Registered with the commission, so you have to register yourself with the commission, and has been issued a valid medical cannabis card. For patients under 19, you have to be a state resident, certified by a physician, have a qualifying condition, and has a caregiver who is a parent or guardian. Okay. For a caregiver, you have to be a state resident, registered with the commission, issued a medical cannabis care card, or caregiver card, sorry, and at least 21 years old, unless the parent or guardian of a registered qualified patient. Oh, teen pregnancies. Yeah, like, you know what? We're at least recognizing that a teen parent might have to deal with something and make a decision. on their own without the state influencing it. Look at that. May purchase or possess medical cannabis, but may not use medical cannabis unless he or she is also a registered qualified patient. So the caregiver can handle and pick up and pay for, but cannot use the product unless they are also a qualified patient. We've already talked about the qualified products, so we're good there. I don't know what the meetings are for. Is this upcoming meetings? Yeah, so there are upcoming meetings. So September 1st, you can ask for your application. September 8th at 1 p.m. in Montgomery, there is a meeting scheduled, and then also on October 13th. So if you want to show up and say something at one of these meetings, that is publicly available on the dates and times and locations, amcc.alabama.gov/meetings. Because we're here, we'll just post it to everybody on the different platforms, so that's there for you. All right, so that is the application timeline. We're not going to read through that right now. There's our meetings. This is our, all right, so this is where we started when we found our regulations earlier. I don't know if there is, does anybody want to look into any of the regulations around the facilities or anything else? Anybody curious about that part? Or are we be more worried about the treating aspect, like as from the patient perspective? Because we have about 20 minutes and we can dive into some of the ridiculous rules that they probably have in place, if we want to. If not, then we can skip forward and just look at some other content. I'm gonna need you to put it in the comments, show some engagement, and we will read through some of that if you want to. So this is the licensing requirements again. That's insulin price pieces. Oh, what is that? What is NADAP.org? Yeah, Anna said patients. So I guess I'm assuming that nobody here has the $30,000+ for the license fee, or the $2,500 for the application fee in the first place. That's my assumption here. All right, insulin price gouging. Yeah, so this goes, you left it in your other purse, Michelle. I like it. When you find it, let us know. We'll dive into this on another policy meeting, and we can help you navigate. Not really, but we can help you navigate applying for a license. Just let me know if you're going to be an integrated facility, and we need to figure out the $50,000 license. That was sarcasm for the record, since this is recorded, right? All right, insulin price gouging. This is going back to our somebody's comment. I may have been Michelle asking about the price cost. Like, a patient with diabetes may have paid $175.57 for a 20 milliliter vial of long-acting insulin, and today that'll cost, and again, I don't know when this was written, 2019 actually, so not too long ago, $14.87. So it went from $175 for a 20 milliliter vial to $1,487. No new changes to the formula, as it were, that I'm aware of. Seems to be a profit motive. So, for life-saving medicines, which is where my concern comes in again. So, all right, let's see. I want to make sure we're not missing anything else. I don't think so. It's only expensive if you value human life. It's only expensive if you value human life. I don't think that's what you meant. I think it's only inexpensive if you value human life. Is that? Make sure I got you right, but I think that's what you meant. I don't have anything else. I just want to make sure we covered this. There's no change in what is legal to have. Like, there's no new laws around that. This is just about getting a license to be a medical marijuana grower, dispenser, processor, handler, or an all-in-one integrated facility. So if you're in that boat and you're seeing this message, if you're a person and you're in that boat and you're seeing this message and you're thinking about applying for a license, if you're thinking about the $50,000 one, I'm just going to ask you to step it down one notch and just donate the rest of my campaign. I can't help but shamelessly request contributions. So this is the campaign. It takes money to run it, and this is me asking for donations. This is a nice reminder for this weekend, September 3rd. If you're in the Mobile area, we have an event coming up this Saturday on September 3rd from 7:30 to 9 p.m. It is going to be at Cedar Street Social Club from 7:30 to 9. We're going to have appetizers. I believe it's a taco bar. Ashley or Taylor or Anita, if one of you are watching this and I said that incorrectly, but it's PS Taco is doing taco bar appetizers, or an appetizer taco bar. And then we're gonna have a live music on and off with Gabe Willis, who is one of the members of Pawpaw's Medicine Cabinet here in the Mobile area. And we also will have me speaking a little bit. I'm not going to bore you guys. You hear me talk about this stuff a lot, but if you want to ask questions, I will be there to chat a little bit after I give a small speech. And we will hear some more music after that, and that way it's not me monologuing for a long time. And then we will be having a beard competition because it is World Beard Day. So if you are coming to the event, your general admission ticket includes your ability to participate in the beard competition, and people will be voting with their dollars to see who has the best beard, and the person who wins gets a special prize, and the contributions or the voting dollars go to the campaign. So it's obviously a benefit concert. We're there to raise funds for the campaign. And the thing that I'm probably the most excited about, a friend of the campaign, Stephanie, created a craft cocktail for us. We are calling it an old-fashioned policy meeting, spelled MEATING, because it is going to be garnished with candied bacon. And if you're from the Mobile area, or you are a bacon fan, you may have heard of Billy's Bacon. It's actually made here locally. They smoke their bacon locally. They smoke it behind a music stage, and they smoke it while bands are playing. So it is serenaded bacon. It's delicious serenaded smoked bacon that they are going to candy for us for our drink as a garnish. And I'm super pumped for it. Stephanie, if you're seeing this, thank you again. Super excited for that drink. All right. I don't have anything else, so unless somebody on the team has something they want to drop in and say, or we have more comments that come in through social media, happy to answer those. We are essentially at a free time at this point. Like, I've got about 14 minutes, so if you have questions you want to talk and ask, plop them in. If you happen to be in the area, in Mobile, please check the website linked in the bio of the platform you're watching this on, and you will be able to see a green bar at the top that says the details of the event for the September 3rd event until the event happens. Obviously, if you're watching this later because it's recorded, look for a different event, and you can purchase a ticket through Eventbrite there. So I think we are good to go, and we will see you soon. I think Saturday our events are scheduled as normal. They haven't been in a couple weeks, but I'm hoping we do it again on Saturday normal times. So that's Saturday at 9 for our strategy meeting, and then at 10 for our field operations, boots on the ground, getting in front of people and talking to people. And then obviously that night at 7:30, we'll have the event at Cedar Street Social Club. And somebody proposed an idea. Morgan, I'll get to your question in a second. Thank you for putting it in. Somebody proposed an idea for those who want to virtually participate in the event, and I am willing to set up a streaming rig if someone is interested in paying essentially a reduced fee. So you're not helping us cover food or anything like that. If you want to participate virtually and just watch in, let me know. Send us a message on Facebook or Instagram, or send an email to manager@jaredalgov.org. And please do that before Friday, like, night, sometime Friday afternoon, Friday early evening, and we will attempt to get that set up. I don't know if they have internet there, so please bear with us, but we will see if we can do that, and get in touch with you about helping support the campaign remotely rather than in person, because I know a lot of people are excited to see us come to the city that they're in, and that hasn't happened in all of them yet, and we won't be able to get to everybody. But if you want to see us in your city, reach out. and we will get something scheduled as quickly as we can. All right, Morgan, you asked a very good question. What would be my first move as governor? The first move is setting up a committee or commission or group, whatever phrase we come up with, whatever the appropriate term is for this group, to review all of the current cases that are currently incarcerated, everybody's case that's currently there, and look for those who are least likely to reoffend upon release and work on getting them out as quickly as possible. The concern, honestly, and this is what some people say, just let people out, and there are some ways I could do that. The concern, though, is recidivism. Like, if we just let people out and they don't have support structures in place in society when they're out, they will just end up back in the system. So that's the concern, and that's the plan. That's the first thing. It's literally like, let's get a group so that we can start reviewing records. We can't do that now, otherwise we would start already. But those records are not publicly available. We can request records, but I'm fairly certain they wouldn't give them to us. So if you want to help with that, let me know. Love to talk to you about doing that. We need people from all different walks of life on that group. So people with psychology backgrounds, people with even law backgrounds. We need people who have been incarcerated previously. Like, we need people from all walks of life to be reviewing those cases, so that we can have a holistic and well-rounded perspective on their current situation, where they are right now, regardless of how they got there, how long they've been there. We want to find who can get out quickly and not end up just back in the system. So, Morgan, I hope that answered your question. I appreciate you hanging on the live. It's good to see your avatar down in the corner. So, y'all have a good night. I'm going to end the stream here because I think that's the last question that came through.